that I've of the things that I've learned from your class have had such a profound impact on my life and the people around me's life. Of course, we're social people, everything has a rippling effect. And it just made perfect sense in the moment for me to be like, okay, I do this every day and gratitude journaling has had such a big impact. Of course, I have to reach out to Professor Miller. Like it has to happen. And I think it started a couple weeks into the class. I have to admit I was a bit skeptical going into the class, and I was like, okay, you know what? She's talking about gratitude journaling, and she's talking about like writing down a couple things I'm thankful for, and like what is this going to do? And I remember you used to kind of challenge us and ask us to write about something different and try to write about something different. And it really made me think about the small things that I didn't really notice before. And especially during that time, I had your class the first term that Drexel went online, right when the pandemic hit. So it was so hard to find something different to be thankful for every single day. And it was so interesting because I did that like a couple days, and then within like the next week or so, it was so easy for me to find things to be thankful for. Like I would say like, "Oh yeah, I made avocado toast this morning. It turned out really good." Or like, "Oh, me and my dad had this great conversation about like sexuality or something." And it was so great. It was so like fantastic because, my dad is like an immigrant father and it was like progressive and it just made me have hope and everything for the future. There were just so many different things that I could be thankful for, that I didn't realize before, and I think it just kind of brought them into light for me. Um, Now that being said, people always say it takes 22 days to create a habit and then 3 days to break one. Um, so, right after the course ended, it kind of like fell off a little bit. I think I kind of got into like, school and I was started studying for my MCAT exam and my goals were to go to medical school. I had taken the MCAT 3 times in total. And the first 2 times I ended up getting the same score. And which doesn't really look good for medical schools. But I really thought, and I was like, this is not the best I could do. I really want to do it again. And I realized that all of this was not the issue wasn't my understanding of the content at all. I'd been doing great on practice exams. I had been scoring way better on practice exams. And when it came time for the actual exam, I'd have so much self-doubt. And I was like, this just doesn't make sense. Like I want to show them what I can do and I'm not able to do it. And I don't understand why. During this time, this was like kind of towards the end of college. This was like maybe a year or two after our class had ended. I the gratitude journal that I had kept during your class, I was cleaning out my room and I came across it and I was just kind of reading through it. And in it, I had also, apart from, things that I was thankful for, I also kind of wrote about my struggles at that time. And it just seemed so funny to me that, I was writing about like, oh my God, my roommate said this to me today, or like, oh my God, like this crazy thing happened in my class today, or something. And it just seems so small looking back where I was now studying for my MCAT and this was the biggest thing. And looking back at that time, I was like, "Oh my god, that seems so small back then. This is probably not that big of a deal either. Why am I making this out to be such a big, like, monstrous exam? It doesn't have to be." So, I think that kind of pushed me to, "Okay, let me try to restart this gratitude journaling exercise," and I did. I stuck with it. I do it every day, um, right before I go to sleep, just so I could sleep on a more positive note, and in an interesting way, I think I was way more dedicated. I was way more interested in what I was learning. So it was more like fun for me. I would have like my friends quiz me, and I actually ended up doing 5 or 6 points better than I thought I would originally. And now went into the medical school admissions process like way more confident, way more articulate in my thoughts. Wrote about gratitude journaling in so many of my essays because you can't be a doctor taking care of other people if you can't even take care of yourself. And it just makes perfect sense for me to, reach out to you who's had like such a great impact on me and the people around me. And this is like something so simple that everyone can do that I'm taking on, throughout the rest of my life. So I I'm so happy I could help with your book. Like everyone should read it.
I appreciate